Welcome again, Aquarius. Dadhichi here from astrology.com.au. It's February 2016. A snapshot of the month for you, astrologically. The sun now moving through your sun sign is always a welcome astrological transit, bringing with it its vitality and power. And this month, more notably, some other planets are going to be transiting into this sector of your horoscope. Mercury, for a start, around the, let's have a look at that, around the 14th. And then on the 17th, Venus, which is really your best planet in terms of its rulership of different sectors of the zodiac. And that, of course, being the planet of love and good fortune and all sorts of nice things domestically for you, is a welcome transit. So, you know, three key planets. And if that wasn't enough, we also see a new moon on the 9th taking place. So this whole first half of the month is going to be studded with really positive aspects for you in your sun sign, bringing with it renewed vitality, a strong sense of self-confidence, improved relationships, and luck generally. So your karma is on the up and up during this period. Now, you're waiting for it, aren't you? What's the downside? Well, it's a bit of a mixed result from the planet ruling your career sector, Mars, which is entrenched in its transit there. Month starting off with the moon in close proximity, and that moon is ruling your 6th house of health as well as workplace activities, and being in that company of dynamic Mars, which is very, very strongly placed there. For many of you, you should be experiencing an upliftment in your work, if only because of the sheer energy that you've got, the physical vitality. But do take care of that, Aquarius. You know, we see a right angle forming between Mars and the Sun. Sun will transit to that exact square. Let me have a look. Probably around the 7th. So during that first week of the month, we see an intensification of that aspect, number one. Number two, in that 12th house, the hidden house of your horoscope, we see an intensification in the same period of Venus, that luck planet, with Pluto. So I'd be saying that first 6 or 7 days you have to be very, very careful. You're likely to be pushing a little bit too hard, demanding things of others, moving at a pace that others can't keep up with. You know exactly what you want right now, but that's not going to help your relationships. I would be saying that if you can temper that, balance that, because Venus is one of the planets of balance, leading up to the 7th, then that tension should relax and release after the first week into the second week of the month. And don't forget too, the Mars and Sun square is notorious for mishaps, accidents, injuries, and just really, really devitalizing you. Having the moon there with Mars at the outset of the month is a dead giveaway that you may be really, really burning the candle at both ends, expecting and demanding too much of yourself. So if you can get through that first month, the new moon there we see in your sun sign is an important one too, heralding a shift in self-talk, self-awareness, self-perception. Changing the way you view yourself means that the way you view the world will be very different. And believe it or not, in due course, the way the world views you will change. So that's a very significant, let's call it self-help technique. But it's true. We need to, change the way we view things. That very shift in perception is what changes our lives. And I think these are the important elements, along with that Venus, Mercury and Pluto in the 12th house of spirituality, Jupiter in the North Node in the 8th house of self-transformation. This is a pivotal period, and we can't escape the fact that even though you've got that strong foreground planet of Mars in your career sector, Sun in the foreground and the rising in the sun sign, that it's against that backdrop of spirituality, self-transformation, shifts in the way you perceive yourself. And so this is a powerful period. The new moon there taking place on the 9th, as I said, 9th or 10th, will bring with it a distinct shift. Then you have the full moon, and this is an interesting one, that full moon on the 23rd, I believe, which is going to take place in that 8th house of self-transformation. I've focused a lot on this spiritual component, but the 8th house does also have a large part to play in banking, finance, shared resources, money, etc., etc. And because you've got Neptune in that 2nd house of finance and income, having the full moon in the opposite part of the heavens could present a bit of confusion over that. So I'll be saying earlier in the month, rather than beating people up, ask questions, investigate the nature of your relationships and contracts too, because things can change suddenly as a result of having Uranus in that 3rd house. There is another shift to the 3rd house there, I think. Let me take a look at that. May not happen this month, but certainly there are some aspects to Uranus that you need to watch out for whilst we are talking about these changes in the nature of your business partnerships. First of those is on the 7th, when the Sun is in the sextile to Uranus. That's positive. Then we see the transiting Mercury on the, well, that starts the month off on a square, so that's when some abrupt changes can take place right off the get-go there at the beginning of the month. Then we see the sextile that improves from Mercury, good communications and letter writings, that's at the very end of the month. And the other one is the square or the right angle from Venus to Uranus on the 7th. So really, again, we keep coming back to the difficult portions of the month being the 1st to the 7th, with things improving dramatically towards the latter part of the month. But most importantly, I think this self-transformative period is going to start to pick up pace now, and as long as you're able to curb your pushy nature, especially in your professional arena, this should turn out to be beautiful. Hope to see you next month. In the meantime, visit me at astrology.com.au, get a little more information on this month and the next 12 months with the yearly forecast that we have there. Have a good one, and I hope to see you here again next month. Bye bye for now.